All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Gunn, and I am the coordinator of Digital Scholarship at Catholic University of America Libraries. I'm joined by my colleague, Gale Champion, one of our graduate library pre-professionals, who will be monitoring the chat for any questions. This workshop is being recorded and will be made available later, along with the slides. So what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to build on the last two workshops we had. We had a workshop for building a data set, and we had a workshop for cleaning the data set. So today we're going to do the final workshop, and that is analyzing our data set. And we're going to be looking specifically at 6 tools that are provided through the Gale Digital Scholar Lab. What I like to do is give you a quick overview of what they do, and then demonstrate them in action and walk you around each module and show you how you can do analysis and then redo an analysis given the various options that are listed. And then we'll talk about how to use analyses in projects. So let us get started. Before I go ahead, I feel compelled to give you a quick overview of the lab. So I did this last week when I was doing the cleaning module. So just giving an overview, the lab's designed for faculty and students to begin doing research in text mining. It is a convergence of thousands of documents, text mining techniques, and best practices in the digital humanities. The advantage of the lab includes saving the researcher time in collecting documents, which can be a very time-consuming task. It allows you to perform basic text analysis without having to learn program coding or using the command line. And the lab also guides you on what you need to consider when doing text mining. So it's very much a platform where it brings all these particular dimensions together. It is very much a learning center. Lots of helpful assistance in terms of videos and documentation going through. So you don't feel quite alone when you're trying to examine your results that you get. There's a lot. It's also very useful in that you can use the document, the data sets that they have based on the data sets that have been purchased by your library, or you can bring in your own material and upload it in text format to combine. And on top of all that, you can use the visualization tools to create your own visualizations, and then you can download that material and put it to other uses. So just to give you a quick overview here, they deal with primary sources from all different types of collections. So you get newspapers. Here's an example of a newspaper, and what they'll do is consider that as a primary source, and then they OCR it. And usually if the source material is good, the primary source material is good, then it will be OCR will have a high level of confidence. If it's not, if it's like a microfilm of some type, then it won't be, and they'll tell you how confident they are in reading that OCR. So it's something that you can take, you can evaluate, and in many cases, when you're building your data set, you're going to have to spend some time cleaning that even after you OCR it. So just to let you know. And then you have a statistical output, and then fall from that, you can have your visualization output for your projects. So looking at the big picture, you have a research question. You're trying to answer your research question, and quite often the research question will lead to other research questions. So it's very much a reiterative process. So the process is cyclical and will make most of your time, will take most of your time before you get to interpret your results. So you get to build, do the process of that. You get to clean, spend time with that. And then once you've got a data set that is relatively clean, you are able to analyze it. So you have to decide, what is your analysis that you're going to use? What's the tool you're going to use? What's the data that you're going to use? You're going to look at the visualizations and results. And then if they are acceptable, you get to export them. If they're not, then you go back and you redo it. So the platform set up so you can do some basic analysis on a data set and realize, oh, gee, I really need to clean this data set a bit more. And then you can go back to the clean platform and the clean module and then redo it. Or in some cases, remove a document if that's your case. So I'll demonstrate that in a bit. So what are the 6 tools that we're looking at here? So these are the outputs that you can work with. These techniques have been around a while and are great entry points for new researchers who want to get started in text mining, for instructors who want to teach these techniques to their students, and for students who are just dipping their toes into digital scholarship for the first time. So Gale promises that they're going to be adding more tools in the future. So I look forward to that. So you can break down the tools into 2 basic groups here, the quantitative analysis and the qualitative analysis. So for quantitative, you have numerical accounts where you're, for example, you have parts of speech that are analyzed through tagging. You have named entity recognition. So how often a name is mentioned and where in the text. And you can also look at Ngrams. I think most people are familiar with Ngrams. How many times the word is present, does it collocate with other words, those sorts of questions you can ask. On the other side, you have qualitative analyses. And these rely on the user to provide context. So you as the researcher have to come with some sense of what it is that you are looking for and what you want to get out of your particular research project. So each tool brings in outside tools to work within the lab. So sentiment analysis examines the negative or positive words present in a particular document or document set. And it uses the AFIN lexicon, and we'll get into that in a bit. So you're bringing something from the outside, in addition to what you bring, in addition to whatever documents you upload, combine it with Gale's documentation in order to get a particular visualization, particular result from that. Another one is clustering, which allows the researcher to bring their statistical knowledge to analysis, to analyzing a document set. And then the last one is topic modeling. That's a very common one. They use the Mallet program. Mallet's been around for, gee willikers, about 15 years, I guess. So they're using very stable, useful tools in allowing us to do our research. So topic modeling allows the user to lump all the words in a data set into a list of 10 or so topics and to understand what the document is about. So there's extensive literature on each of these methods, and your research will probably use a number of these. So let us go to the lab. So here we are on our library website. And what we can do is head over to the research help here, and you'll notice Gale Digital Scholar Lab listed right here. So I'm just going to click on that. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and we're going to access the lab here. All right, so you come to this page. There's a lot of great information on here. First thing you want to do is you want to log in or create an account. So I will log in. I'm going to sign in with my Google. And here we go. And if everything's successful, on the top right-hand corner, you will see I'm signed in as Kevin B. Let's say here. So that's good. So we each have our own account. So we've done build, we've done clean, and today we're going to do analyze. Just to point out before, if you want to see what texts are available to you, if you're a Catholic University of America student or staff or faculty, you can click on this texts are available, see the available archives. I'm going to do that just for a second here. So here we have a number of data sets that you can search, you can combine, all that sort of stuff. 18th century collections, 19th century. We have American fiction up here covering that date period, as well as a lot medical and political information, as well as newspapers. Number of papers here. So I just want to point this out that this is where you can pull a lot of material from. I'm going to go back to our main page here. So you notice up in the top right-hand corner here, we have our My Content sets. I can click on that, and this will give me all the stuff that I've built over the past few weeks, all the different content sets, data sets. So it's always important. This is where you're pulling material from. We have the build function and the clean function. I'm not going to click on those. I am going to go to analyze. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll back up here. And I'm going to start fresh right here. So what do you have here? You have a video that gives you, how to go about analyzing a content set. There are additional topics, selecting the right tool, setting up and running the modules, and then as well as different help. So it's worthwhile taking a look at this. And like I said, it does come down to selecting the right tool. Depending on your research question, it's not going to, some tools are going to be more useful than others. Other tools are going to be frankly useless. That's just the way it is. So you have to put some thought into what you're doing. Today, I have a particular data set that I've used in previous weeks. I will use that as a demo for the 6 tools. So that, as you'll see, it may be more or less useful depending on the tool. All right, so tools are for different purposes. So you as a researcher need to contextualize your question. So learning what each tool is designed to do will let you, as a researcher, discern which one best suits your needs. So all the tools in the lab operate by analyzing the textual features. So the words, their position, either in a paragraph or syntactically within documents in a content set. So none of the tools are designed to tell us what the documents are about or what they mean. Instead, we can use them to discern what meaning they may have by understanding the characteristics of the language and content they contain. So it's important to keep that in mind. So it is useful in the tools can be useful in the sense that they can suggest to you trends or themes or possibly new lines of research in that. So very much exploratory in that sense. So just to emphasize here that no tool will offer an answer to what its outputs might mean. So you must keep that in mind. One of the issues here as well, the whole idea of replication, reproducibility, and transparency. You want to keep your focus on that. You want to keep track of your, document what it is that you're doing, so that if you do have a scholarly paper coming out of this, that folks can come in, subsequent researchers and scholars can come in and use your paper as a basis for doing their own research as well. All right, so let me show you how we can go about doing this. So right now you'll notice get started by selecting a content set. Right, so you have this page here. So you can't, you're kind of limited here. So if you don't have any content sets, they're going to send you back to building and cleaning. So in this case, I do have some. So let me show you a couple things. I'm going to go here to Black America. And so I do have a content set, but it is empty. So it is asking me, so it's not giving me any option to select any tools here. So saying, hey, you got to add documents first. So I click on that and it takes me back to the build feature where I can search for material, put it in there and put it into my content set and then begin working that way. So that's one way that you can do that. Now, if you have, I'm going to look at this content set here under T 1650 to 1800. You'll notice we already have, there's material in there and there's some tools that have been selected and used. They've been run right here and you'll notice a few things. So this one here is parts of speech. Has not been run yet. I just set it up a little while ago. You have sentiment analysis. This was ran on October 11th, and it was only 28 seconds for the runtime. Then you have topic modeling down here. It was also done on October 11th. This runtime here was over 4 minutes. So, you know, depending on what it is that you're searching, if you're doing topic modeling, and if you're looking at 10,000 documents, hey, it's going to take you a long time to run this thing. So if you're only looking at 30 documents, then much shorter period of time. So we have this here. We've decided, okay, you know what? I want to see what else I can add here. So you can go up right here where it says Add Tool. And it'll give you this page. So it tells you what's already been added. We've had these three here. But let's say I want to also do Ngrams. So I click on Ngrams. It's now been added. And the page is refreshed. And here's Ngrams. It can tell me a default setup that I want. So I can just run this right now. Or what I can do is I can edit this. So here it is. You can give it a name if you want, you know, keep track of what it is you're searching. So in this particular case with Ngrams, it will ask you the number of tokens contained within an Ngram. We'll get into that in a second. You can play with a lot of the stuff here. Number of Ngrams returned. You can look at the cleaning configuration, or you can bring in a lot more topic modeling, Ngram, these sorts of things that you can bring in. So you have a number of options, and I really recommend just playing around with your data set to see what you come up with. All right, so now we're going to go into the 6 tools. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my data set that I've used in the last couple weeks, and that has been the Northwest Rebellion of 1885. That happened in what is now Saskatchewan and Alberta. A number of Natives, Aboriginals, First Nations, and Métis rose up against the federal government because they were not adequately represented in Parliament. So it's a bit of a rebellion. Happened in March 1885 to, I believe, July 1885. So I went and I did a search on those, primarily newspapers, and I looked at the year 1885 only because I wanted to see current news items. No historical analysis, so to speak, but just current news items. So that was what my topic was on, just exploring that, seeing if there's anything unique in there. So first thing we're going to look at here is parts of speech. So before I do that, all right, let's see, do I want to do that? Okay, I'll do this. All right, so here is parts of speech. So what are we looking for exactly here? So what's the setup here? So uses the open source Spacey parts of speech tagger to generate a list of word use across a content set. So Spacey's built on the Python, and it's an established Python module, if you will, to delineate and tag words, whether noun or adjective, adverb, that sort of thing. So it's natural language processing of syntax to recognize and tag parts of speech, essentially. So in this particular option here, you can filter by author to enable comparative analysis if you're so inclined. So you can also look at how phrases are constructed within each document in a content set as well. So let us take a look at that. So here it is here. What I've done is I've run all of these before because I didn't know how long it would take for each of these. In this case, parts of speech took about a little over a minute. So what I will do is I'm going to click on view here. Let's assume we ran it and we get this particular result. So here we go. Again, you know, you're not being a passive recipient of beautiful charts and that. You're looking critically at what it is that's coming back at you. So parts of speech. I look at the left-hand side here. I've got wonderful legend. So I can toggle these categories on and off if I want to. So if I click on noun, it gets rid of the nouns. If you'll notice here, gives you pronouns, interjections, participles. One thing that it does give me right here is punctuation. And if you know anything about cleaning data, you don't really want punctuation in there. Unfortunately, this tells me right away that I'm gonna, before I download this and use it in any research or whatever, I need to clean my data set more. So this is very useful when you do a visual analysis, is to realize, you know, do I have good quality, do I have a good quality data set in here? So in this case, I know I don't. And that's okay, because all part of the learning process here. So I can look at that. I can look at all these various ones here. And let me see if I can do this. So that was the content set. So it doesn't really tell me all that much. What if I want to look at author, for example? So here I mentioned I'm looking at newspapers for the most part. So here I have newspapers broken down. And here are the top 4, I guess, that listed here. There's slight variations in here that you can take a look at for count and that sort of thing. So you get a sense of what parts of speech people are using. But if you want to change this up, you can change the selection here, and you can take a look, unknown author. I like that. You can always do that. Or you can filter by author. So in this case, filtering by author name would not be useful since we only have these particular ones listed. You'll notice too that we have graphs shown. So let's say if I want to go up to 30, and it doesn't really help me all that much. I want to look at grid columns. I've got 4 listed here again. So it doesn't really help me with regards to author. But if I look at publisher, narrows it down even more. Let's go into change selection. No, I won't bother with that. We go to document type. You'll notice that we have articles and one monograph. So my next question is, how did that monograph get in there? So something to consider when you're looking at these. Okay, there we go. And we have listed there. Okay, so you get a sense of that. If you go over to tool setup here, with each of these particular tools, some will have more additional features than others. So in this particular case, basically you have the function of doing the default cleaning or reconfiguring it. So you don't really have all that much to work with there. So that is parts of speech. The next one we're going to look at is named entity recognition. So this is a big one here. You're looking at named entities. You're looking for named entities that recognize and extract them from documents within a content set, and then output the lists of entities. So it's not designed to analyze textual features, but to extract them and create new data sets, which can then be used for continued analysis or in other tools. So for example, just looking here, you can see different organizations, persons, that sort of thing. You can use it. You have the place, for example, so you can extract places and then take it out and put it into ArcGIS, for example, into a map and demonstrate relationships there. So, examples of entity types could be people, groups, locations, products, and that could be, anything from objects, vehicles, foods, works of art, that sort of thing, as well as dates. So you do have a lot of named entity recognition that can be quite useful. And what we can do is go check this one out. This one took a little over a minute as well. Okay. So here's a search I did, top 200 entities by count. So you can scroll through and you can see, what are the names that are being listed here by count. Obviously, Indians are going to be the top two from there. And you can scroll down, you'll notice how they've been tagged. Let's see, and you can look at the wide variety of tags that they use listed here. You can also take a look at, let's see, I'm going to click on Riel here. Louis Riel was the rebellion leader. So it stands to reason that he's going to be well represented here. So when I click on that, it tells me the documents that he's listed in. So I can look at these, scroll down here. And if I click on one of these, it tells me what other entities are listed in there. So it sort of relates other words, named entities, to my main word here, Riel, and it also tells me what they are. It's not perfect. Battleford, Edmonton, I do not believe it's a person. I believe it's two places, Battleford, Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Alberta. So very interesting, but one could go and click on that and go see where it heads off to. If you want to do more research on the particular document, you can go to the open document. I'm going to click on that just for fun. And look, it gives you the document and looks at all the entities in here. Right? So here it is, agency, large bands, Battleford, Edmonton, and then it tagged it as person districts. So obviously it's not perfect. And something I want to show you that you have to examine your results looking for it, because you may have to tinker quite a bit with some of this material. All right. So I'll leave that there and I'll come back here. So that's a quick look at just one particular document. You'll notice on the left-hand side, you can focus on a particular category. So if you just wanted to look at places or something like that, or remove places, then you can do that. You can also look for a particular entity search. So let's say I do want to look for Edmonton. And there it is, Edmonton in all its glory in different ways, from a geopolitical entity to organization, a place, a cultural group, that sort of thing. So again, some critical analysis on your part is going to be necessary. If we go up here to tool setup, right on the far left here, again, you have the default cleaning configuration. If I click on new tool setup, I can do all these particular listings and go and use these if I wanted to. No punctuation or numbers. So one can refine it in that sense. All right, that is named entity recognition. Okay. Hope it didn't bounce me out here. Okay, so our next one up is going to be Ngrams. So I think it's probably one of the more popular ones that people know about. So if you want to look, a particular word, phrase, so you can look at Ngram, one gram, if you will. This is a sentence, a unigram. This is a sentence. It could be a bigram where you break it into different parts. So this is, or is at, or a sentence. Or it could be, 3 words. So this is at, or is a sentence. So there's different ways that you can look at sequences of words and represent them. So what are the applications of Ngrams? So you can compile search terms and words that are associated with each other. You can explore a data set for specific terminology, which otherwise can be difficult to trace without intensive reading. So very useful. And it's also useful for cleaning your data set. So Ngrams, one of the things that a visualization you can create is word cloud. And you'll notice just on the right here, I create a word cloud with my text, my content set, and I have to tell you, looking at it, you can see the punctuation and some weird words like letter C, for example, in this. So it tells me right away, looking at that, oh, gee, I really do need to clean that up a bit. All right. Looks like I have to log back in. All right, so we're back to our main base. We'll go down to our content set. And it loads up, and we want to do Ngrams. So like I said, I ran it. There's 2 options. You can do word cloud or term frequency. I'm going to view this one. So here is term frequency, and you'll notice the most popular word here is though. So I don't know if that is a typo or what, but it is something that I need to explore further. If I scroll down, I see some interesting words here. Again, you have to clean up this. So you can look at frequency, you can look at count. Now, let me see if I can do that. There's your frequency and percentages and your raw count, how often that particular word is used. If you go to tool setup, it will ask you, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do how large do you want your Ngram size to be? Do you just want to go out forwards, or do you want to do just one or two, that sort of thing? Also explains to you things such as a threshold. So, the number of times an Ngram must appear in the content set in order to be returned in the visualization. So we're saying 2 in this case, or we could say 6. In that case, you're going to have a very different result. So you'll get a page, a little pop-up screen saying run in progress, and the page will usually refresh. But again, it depends on the tool. It depends on the size of your data set. Sometimes what I like to do is just refresh the page. There we go. And we've got a different look, I suspect. Still, though, is well represented, but. So going back to tools, document run. Okay, so that's that. And I should just mention as well, the word cloud. Since we already ran it, we can just click on that, take a look at it. And there's your word cloud here. So at this point, if you wanted to download it, you have this option right here. And when I click on it, I have a number of things I can download here. I can download the CSV, the JSON. I can even use this as a PNG, PDF, or JPEG as well. So easily exportable. Also have a color coding function here if you're into that. All right, our next tool is sentiment analysis. So here's sentiment analysis. So this classifies documents based on the AFIN sentiment lexicon. So fellow, don't recall his name, went through and he basically put many English words and he assigned a sentiment on them. So the lexicon has a list of tokens that are classified as positive, negative, or neutral and scored appropriately between 5 and -5. So the word happy would be positive, so it would have 5. Sad would be negative, so I guess -5. And that's sort of how they were designated. So each document of a content set is processed to determine whether it is predominantly positive or negative in tone. So looking at this, you can run 2 different types of things here. Analyses. So in this particular case, sentiment analysis over time, that's what's being emphasized here. It's not really that helpful because it just covers 1885, and that's what we were looking at. We can find our search. So this particular particular image here, not useful at all. But here's the basic sentiment analysis score, and you'll notice how they set it up: strongly negative to strongly positive. You'll notice the numbers here represent the number of each document that we have. And if you wanted to go in and take a look, like this one here, since these are newspaper reports, they're going to be neutral-ish, if you will. In this case, they're slightly negative because it has connotation. Your rebellion has a negative connotation. So you can actually go in and take a look at some of these. So this one here, this one here. So if I were to click on this one, that little dot here what it does, it'll give you a ranking, and then what it does is takes you through words that it found through here. So here's some red, a lot of stuff it did not, it just canceled out. And you can always open the document. Here. This particular case, it doesn't provide like parts of speech tagging. It doesn't have that in there, but it is something that you can go in and do further research on if necessary. So that is if we look at the new tool setup, again, there's not much change in there. So sentiment analysis is very good. Quick way to understand the sentiment of that particular document. All right. Now we get into some interesting stuff here. One of them is, oh, come back here, is document clustering. So I'm going to go in here. This is, the last two things are much more, how shall I say, sophisticated. Document clustering and topic modeling use algorithms. They use, mathematics, if you will. So if you don't have a understanding of that, then it's going to be a bit of a black box for you, just to let you know. So here is document clustering. And I give this example here. So the tool in the lab is built leveraging open source software. In this case, Scikit learns K-means clustering algorithm, okay? So Scikit, that's a Python platform, and K-means is a particular type of algorithm that goes about clustering words and that. So K-means, let me give you the definition. It's a type of vector quantization. It partitions n observations into K clusters when each observation belongs to the cluster with the nearest mean. So just to give you a sense, I'm not going to flesh that out for you, but let you know that there is a black box part of that you need to explore moving forward. Anyway, so the scatter plot in the lab represents flattened multi-dimensional vectors, with each point in the scatter plot representing documents in a content set. So their similarity to one another is based on their distance within each multi-dimensional vectors, which are then flattened in two-dimensional space. So what does that mean? So here I have a list of 20 clusters, which is kind of odd. So you'll notice that they're sort of clustered together here. You've got these four here and this sort of thing here. So they're showing you that these particular three ones, blue ones here, cluster one, have similarities that you can explore. And here they are. You can also look at each one. Now, if you want to take a look at it that way. If you go to tool setup for document clustering, you need to go down to new tool setup, and you can do a number of clusters here. So you can sort of limit it to whatever you want in that degree, and then run it there. I won't do it in this case. So you can have a quick look at that. And the last one we're going to look at is topic modeling. Go down here. So here's topic modeling. So it's used to analyze a large corpus of an unstructured OCR text. So a lot of what we have, well, in Gale is unstructured in the sense that it came from a primary source. It was transferred, OCR'd, and then the OCR was used to derive statistical analysis in that. But it is very much unstructured. It's not in table set, if you want to put it that way. So when you're looking at doing topic modeling, you're looking at a particular topic. So it's often a collection of terms, or sometimes called a bag of words, that frequently co-occur in a collection of documents. So Mallet is the, I guess, platform that's been used for several years now as very much the standard, if you will. So that has been implemented within the Gale lab. So Mallet is used to extract contextual clues, to connect words with similar meanings, like synonyms like happy, content, joyful, mirthful, upbeat. And also designed to differentiate words that are spelled the same but have different meanings. So, the word bat, has, it's a sports equipment, but it's also an animal. So it goes through your documents and does two basic analysis. It looks at topics and looks at topics proportion. So let me take a look at this. So here's a quick search that we did on topic proportion. So you can take a look and see, here's the topic 0, here's 1. Each document the words in each document have been sorted and put into these 9 topics, if you will. So you can go in and take a look at what the topics are if you want. You'll notice they have topic proportion here, from high to low, and you can sort by a different number of different ways. So here I just flipped it. If you go to tool setup, there are a number of different things that you can do here. So this is what it's running right now. So let me do this, new tool setup. So you can give it a name. You can decide the number of topics that you want to use. So you can use 10, default is 10, minimum is 1. Why would you do 1? That's kind of useless. 99 is a lot. Usually 10 is the basic number, but you can go up to 20. Words per topic, depending on what you're doing. 10 is usually the right way to go. You can always go higher up if you want to get slightly different results. What happens with this particular algorithm is that it goes through all your documents, and it'll go through, in this particular case, 1,000 times. So it'll read all your documents for the first time and go, oh, that's very interesting. Then it'll go through the second time and it'll start to relate words to each other, put these similar words into different bags, and it'll do it 1,000 times, and it'll reduce all those words, all those different types of tokens in this particular data set into a group of 9 or 10 topics. And then at that point, you get a sense, what your document set is about, but also your documents. So it's a good way to explore a particular topic and how it relates to your particular data set. Here, now click on that. So in addition to that, you have particular topics that you listed here. So it gives you the average length in characters of the top words. So it gives you what Mallet suggests, that longer words often have more specific meaning, and therefore topics with a higher average word count may be more specific. So that may be very useful for you to have. So you can take a look at this and look at all the different ways that you can search: coherence, corpus distance, document count, tokens, uniform distance, and all that. And all these have a particular definition that I'm not going to get into here. So the distance from a topic's distribution over words to a uniform distribution. So the higher the value, the more specific the topic. So you have all these different tools built within here that you can use. So that is an overview of the 6 tools. Are there any questions? Well, if you want to talk further about this, you can reach out to me. My email is gunn@cua.edu, and we can have a conversation about your research. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And have a great day.